Hi, it's Tolu once again. In this video, we'll be talking about the furnace of life. Have you ever heard of this scripture? I will purify you as silver. You see, when gold is being mined from the ground, or silver for that matter, it has to be passed through a furnace. And then actually, a silversmith never stops purifying silver until he can see the reflection of himself in it. Have you ever heard of that before? In the same vein, God is the silversmith of our life. God is like the blacksmith of our lives. And He purifies us as He purifies His silver. And let me tell you, the purifying stage is not pretty. If you stand next to the heater in your house, the heat itself coming from the radiator can make you feel uncomfortable. Now imagine a heat that is strong enough to melt a metal. That is what it means to be passed through a furnace. You see, going through a furnace is never pretty. It is painful, it is hard, and it is almost discouraging, depending on your decision. You see, in the same vein, God puts us through furnaces. God puts us through challenging times. If you look at the story of Joseph, God put him through several furnaces for him to become the person that God wanted him to be. The first furnace that God put Joseph in was the pit. You know, when Jacob, his father, sent him off to fetch his brothers, to report on him, to see how they were doing. They saw him from afar, and then they held him captive and threw him into the pit. Imagine what was going through Joseph's mind. He knew that his brothers hated him, you see, and in those days, the heat of the climate was so dense that Joseph must have been parched. So it must have been almost near death, thinking of his brothers killing him. All of a sudden, they brought him out of the pit to be sold as a slave. That's another furnace. You know, and during that time, Joseph had the weirdest encounter I believe he had ever had as a young man. A woman pursuing him and wanting to have sexual relations with him. And this was a test of his integrity. You see, Potiphar had taken so much interest into Joseph because he saw that things were moving forward because of Joseph's involvement in his household. And as a result, he put Joseph as the head of his household, as a slave. Imagine being in that powerful position. All of a sudden, the woman of the house starts taking illicit interest in you. Joseph could have easily subdued himself to those influences, and Potiphar might have never found out. Or Potiphar could have found out and Joseph's life would be cut short. You see, in the furnace of life, one of the things that will be tested is your integrity. Would you stand the test of time? Or would you do something, or would you bend to do something that is comfortable, that is easy? You understand? I've had several experiences whereby I have had to choose between what is right and what is easy. This is what the furnace of life is meant to test your character. It's meant to test your integrity. Would you stand? Another furnace that Joseph had to go through was prison. Joseph was faithful in prison. Would you be faithful when everything is against you? Would you stick to what God has called you to do? Would you stick to what you know is right? Or would you bend because of the circumstances that you're going through? I would like us to reflect on these things and think about it. And even let us think retrospectively at times where we might have faced similar challenges. It doesn't matter if you bent or if you succumbed. But what matters now on is that make a conscious decision to be a person of integrity. I hope this has helped you. And I hope that, that regardless of what we are going through, that God will empower us, encourage us, and see us through. God bless you.